It was 1943, and the world was gripped by the chaos of World War II. Amidst the brutal battles raging across continents, soldiers often whispered about terrors in the night, terrors no one wanted to face. But there's one story that stands out, shrouded in mystery and passed down in hushed tones between generations of soldiers. This isn't a legend, it's a warning. Welcome to the Nightside Archive. Tonight, we delve into the story of the soldier and the hungry shadow. During a bitterly cold October evening, somewhere along the dense forests of Eastern Europe, a small detachment of soldiers was stationed on the edge of a claimed zone. Their mission was to monitor enemy troop movements, but strange things kept happening as the sun dipped below the horizon. The perimeter alarms, set with makeshift wires and tin cans, would jingle faintly despite no wind. Ration packs were found ripped open with claw marks, not a knife or tool mark among them, though no predators were recorded in the area. The morale was plummeting. One of the younger soldiers, Pavel, became particularly uneasy. He claimed to have seen a figure darting between trees during his night watch. At first, the squad laughed it off. War fatigue played cruel tricks on soldiers' minds. But Pavel's midnight paranoia would be echoed by others in the following days. A seasoned sergeant, Victor, who was not known for indulging in fantasy, noted the peculiar silence that blanketed the forest at night. Usually alive with chirping crickets or an occasional owl's hoot, the woods now felt dead. It was as though nature itself had held its breath, waiting for something to happen. One fateful night, during Pavel's turn at guarding the camp, he claimed to hear something different, a raspy whisper. It seemed to float on the cold wind, just soft enough to make him question his sanity. Leave. Now. Pavel rushed back to the campfire to share the malevolent message, but before he could tell them, a loud, piercing scream echoed from the other side of the camp. Victor grabbed his rifle and ran toward the sound with two others in tow. What they found still baffles military researchers. A soldier, Stefan, lay on the ground, his face pale, mouth unnaturally wide, as if frozen mid-scream. He bore no wounds, yet he was undeniably lifeless. Even stranger were the trails in the dirt surrounding him, sharp drag marks, like something clawed but with no distinct pattern. Stefan's rifle was still loaded, untouched. Victor gathered the squad and ordered a perimeter sweep, but despite their combined effort, they found not a trace of an intruder, human or animal. It was as if the forest itself had absorbed whatever had come. The commanding officers weren't informed. Back then, reporting anything supernatural brought accusations of dereliction or hysteria. So the squad endured their growing terror in silence, forming tighter watches and consuming more caffeine just to push through the nights. But their precautions failed. The following week hit its most chilling point. Another soldier disappeared altogether. No screams, no trace, only his helmet discovered by a ditch a mile from their camp. Now, all eyes turned to Pavel, who had stopped sleeping entirely. He scribbled erratic notes and drew dark sketches of an unnerving entity that resembled a shadow, but with hungry, glinting eyes. The drawing showed it towering over soldiers, yet it was empty. That emptiness, he said, felt devouring. The hungry shadow, he whispered on his last night in the squad. On that terrible evening, it was Pavel who vanished. His cot was left untouched. The only sign of his passing was his rifle, leaning up against a tree at the edge of camp, bent at an angle as if by superhuman force. Victor would later swear he saw movement in the woods, shapeless but larger than life. just beyond the flickering firelight. By then, the squad was broken. Orders came for their reassignment. Weeks later, Victor found himself stationed on the front lines, far from those cursed woods. But he could never block the memory of those nights. He recounted it only once in full before his passing to his grandson years later, who scribbled it in a journal as a dying man's ramblings. What's particularly haunting is that Victor's account isn't an isolated one. Across different war zones, spanning decades and continents, stories emerge about a shadowy predator that seems drawn to conflict. Always seen at the edge of vision or not at all, it preys on the vulnerable, picking off those isolated from their comrades. In modern anthropology circles, some attempt to link it to ancient cave paintings that depict shadow figures looming over clusters of people. Soldiers from indigenous backgrounds have also shared similar folklore. The Cree of North America speak of a being that eats fear. In Africa, among tribes near conflict zones, there is a myth of the Void Stalker, a silent hunter born of despair. Skeptics might argue these stories are nothing more than a shared myth, amplified by the terror and stress of warfare. To others, it is all too real, a lingering reminder that we as humans don't fully understand what lurks in the darkness. As for Pavel, his final note tucked away in his journal said this: "The hungry shadow takes more than lives. It eats hope, bit by bit. If you feel it watching, don't run. Pray the fire burns all night." And so Pavel's warning ripples through time, a chilling whisper from the past, meant to shield those yet to cross paths with this unrelenting entity. Do you think it's just another wartime tale to scare the new recruits? Or could there be some truth? Next time you're near the forest edge, count your shadows carefully. You might not be as alone as you think.